Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown. This is a show that is everything Broncos and sports topics related. I'm your host, Bronco Bill. My co-host is Jeremy Case. Welcome, Jeremy. Yeah,
Welcome. What's going on, Bill? How you doing, man? Another
Good,
week,
man.
another Broncos game. Let's get to it.
Yeah, let's get to it. Can you believe, first off, before we get into the actual game, we are tied for first place? Can you believe that? And we'll get into why in a little bit.
Yeah, I can, and I can't.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's bittersweet type of situation for sure.
Yeah, my thought on the game is this: the final score was 11-10. People are wondering, how in heaven's name do you get to 11? Well, you have a touchdown, you have a 2-point
safety,
and you go for 2 points and miss it. So now you end up with 6, a field goal and safety. There you go. That's 11.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I mean, you only need 1 point to win a game. That's obvious. But here's the thing: that defense. I mean, I'm kind of thinking, is this the no-fly zone 2.0?
Not sure I'd give it that title just because of the fact of the strength of our defense this time around seems to be from the pressure / rushing edge side of things.
Sure.
No-fly zone really pertained to the secondary, in which Akeem Talib and Chris Harris Jr. Were doing. I don't know what to call this. It's a great Broncos defense. I'll tell you that. It's got to be at least league top three for sure.
Absolutely.
For the Broncos. So, I mean, is it on that same level? Yeah, just in a different way.
Sure.
Just in a different way for sure.
Sure. Do you realize that we have held opponents to a total of 30? I think it was 37 points. Yeah, 17 and 2 10s. So 37 points. That comes out to 12.3 a game. I know you can't get 0.3, but you know what I'm saying. A little over 12 points a game. If we continue to have a defense like that, who knows where this season can go?
Absolutely, and if the offense can just get their legs, get their legs underneath them, we definitely could have something really special. Which I'm looking forward to here coming up in this next football game this next week that we have.
Speaking of next week, before we get to next week, I want to touch on a game or 2 games within a division that shocked me. Yeah. Jacksonville beats the Chargers handily in LA, 38-10. Now, is that a direct result of Herbert being injured, or is that just because that's who the Chargers are?
Well, not only that, too, the Chargers lost their starting right or left tackle as well. He's gone for the season, so that's a huge loss for the Chargers as well. I would like to. I mean, look, Jacksonville is Jacksonville. We all know that, but this time around, their defense is really good. It's really improved a lot, and that running game is very, very legit. Trevor Lawrence is still pretty shaky as far as throwing the ball goes. I don't understand why he's getting all the credit for their victory here and has been. He's, to me, in my evaluation, in my opinion, he's pedestrian at best as far as throwing the ball, because as much as he's had completions, he's also had quite a few interceptions this year. So,
but he's a franchise. That's why.
I just don't think, but in my opinion, I don't think he's the sole reason why the Jaguars have continued to stay in games and why they win games.
Right.
Their defense has had quite a bit of turnovers, quite a bit of pick sixes. So that's also one thing to circle there. Yeah, I mean, it kind of was shocking in a way, no pun intended, to see the Chargers get punched in the mouth at home. It really was. I mean, maybe you would expect with Justin Herbert hurt that they might keep it close or win it by 3. But I didn't expect, a 28-point shellacking by the Jacksonville Jaguars in LA. That's kind of unheard of with the way the Chargers season is going. Going. Yeah.
I didn't expect it either, but all I have to do is this. I love every bit of it. Absolutely love every bit of it. Now the second shocker is the Colts pulled out a win against Kansas City. Now, yes, it was an Indy, but still, you were talking the Chiefs. I mean, the score was 20-17, and I was shocked. And that's why Denver is tied for first, because Kansas City is also 2-1. Uh-oh, you're muted. Nope. What happened? There you go.
In my honest, humble opinion, much like Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium, or whatever it's named now, I call it Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody underestimates Lucas Oil Stadium. It could be quite a bit of a loud house as well, just because of the way it's structured. It's got that typical, barnyard style roof on it, and that can tend to trap the sound in a little bit and maybe rattle the Chiefs. Obviously, there was a little bit of discourse with Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy towards the end of the first half. We saw that. You're just going to go through these kind of growing pains. It's not like Indianapolis whooped them. Right. There was still, I mean, the Chiefs were in it the whole way, pretty much. There wasn't a point where I thought game over until the Chiefs, I think they failed a 2-point conversion or something. They had an interception or something. Can't remember. There's so much football and so much stuff on Sunday. I can't remember it all. But, there was not one point that I thought the Chiefs were out of the game. And you just, you just have a bad day when you have a bad day at the office, things don't go right. Or those days where you're like, this day was supposed to be easy and it's not, for no reason at all. I think it's how the Chiefs viewed that game, was like, we were supposed to win. I don't think they expected to whoop them, but like they expected to win for sure. Mm-hmm. And everything just started going kind of awry a little bit towards the end of the first half. And it's just a bad day for the Chiefs, really.
Well, that was the same with Denver and Seattle. I mean, we were expected to win. We were favored by 10.
Yeah.
And we lost by 1. I mean, any given Sunday, the old saying is any given Sunday, any team can win. And obviously, the Colts are not better than Kansas City on paper.
Well, especially
Jacksonville's not better than the Chargers on paper.
Yeah, especially not Matt Ryan. We've really seen, like, Matt Ryan had a pretty hot start, but then you see he didn't really face a really good defense. Now you see he faces a really good defense, and he's all right, and the running game is pretty much where it's at for the Colts. So, I mean, you definitely want to get that win, but sometimes things happen, and this is the NFL, so sometimes it goes that way.
Exactly. Last team in the AFC West, the Raiders lost to Tennessee Titans 24-22. They dropped to 0-3, and I've already heard rumors that McDaniels is already on the hot seat. And today he had a private meeting with owner Davis. Wow.
I did not know that. Yep. Well, I mean, it was probably a come to Jesus meeting for Josh McDaniels and Mark Davis. So it was probably like, hey, we better see some results here pretty soon, or else we're going to have to make arrangements, basically, because I think honestly, what's happening here is Josh McDaniels' past reputation as a head coach is preceding him here. Mm-hmm. That's, I think, a lot of what the management stuff is making a judgment on is his track record as a head coach. Right. Not that it's not that great. It hasn't been that great. And there were some key moments there that the Raiders just didn't capitalize on, that they needed to have to win the game, to seal the game, and they just didn't do it. I also want to point out, like, that doesn't mean that the Titans are on the Raiders level. They still got a really solid defense. Ryan Tannehill is Ryan Tannehill. He's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback, good enough to keep them in games, obviously, as you see here. And obviously they have Derrick Henry. So, it's just, I don't know. There were definitely some moments in there where I was watching the game and I was shaking my head. I was like, why don't you guys just do this or do that? One thing or another could have really changed the momentum and sealed the game for the Raiders. And as a result, they're 0-3. I mean, everybody keeps saying, I keep hearing people say that Josh McDaniels is not the same Josh McDaniels of old, where he's too hard on the players or anything like that. But I don't know. Yeah. I hear a lot of people who are really close within the organization who have kids on the coaching staff who say that he is not the same Josh McDaniels of old, but I don't know. I don't necessarily see him on the sideline yelling at players like he was in Denver, but that doesn't mean that he's not fit to be a head coach either. You could be the nicest of guys and still be a terrible head coach. I mean, look at Vance Joseph. He's a pretty nice guy, and he not fit to be a head coach. Just not.
Right.
So,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I know you want to talk about this next game, and this is obviously outside the division because we've already covered that.
yeah.
The game that you want to talk about, go ahead. Bring it up.
Well, the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills obviously was it was a very entertaining, I guess you could say, call it a circus if you wanted to on Sunday. I mean, Josh Allen got frustrated a couple of times because like we saw a lot with Coach Nathaniel Hackett here in Denver. There were some clock management issues and some not spiking the ball when the Buffalo Bills should have spiked the ball or kicked a field goal when they should have kicked a field goal when they didn't kick a field goal. And there seemed to be communication issues because after Josh Allen slams his helmet on the field, then we see the offensive coordinator slamming his headset down and throwing all of his papers around. I honestly think he
broke the tablet.
Yeah, he broke a tablet. I think there was just a lot of communication issues and a lot of franticness going on with the Buffalo Bills, almost like they were discombobulated a little bit.
What I don't understand, okay, now I don't know all the NFL rules, obviously, but I know that when you take a snap from center, you get possession of it and you slam it down, then you stop the clock. In this instance, Josh Allen fumbled it. Well, hang on a second, but it didn't hit the ground. So why couldn't he have just picked it up and slammed it down? Would that have been an incomplete pass, or I don't know, what would it be? What do they call it? When you
a dead ball,
intentional grounding. Would they call it intentional grounding?
Well, no, because he's not outside the pocket.
So why didn't he do that? Is what I'm saying. He could have easily just done it. But
I don't know, and I think it's one of those things too where it's kind of unprecedented in the NFL, so you can't really challenge it. It's not really a challengeable thing. So I think the referees just kind of let it be what it was, because it's just kind of an unprecedented moment. You hardly ever see a quarterback fumble a snap of any kind, really, when they're right under center. It's really rare that it happens. So I don't know. I just think it was what it was, and they were kind of hurried up and panicked at the moment too, and it was probably just a bunch of nerves, really more so than anything else. Because if you've ever been in a nervous situation, some people's hands they just shake. They can't stay steady, and maybe because the Buffalo Bills haven't really been in those type of situations a lot where they're running up against the clock. They usually win games pretty handedly, and this tested their nerves a lot. That combined with them being in dark jerseys in the sweltering Miami heat, all that thick hot heat that was out there, it does. It gets to you mentally. It really does. So I'd say it's just like it was what do they call that? Everything that can go wrong will. I forget whose law it is, but that's kind of what just was happening. Anything that could have gone wrong went wrong for the Buffalo Bills, and it was insane. Tyreek Hill had another amazing game. Obviously, the controversy with Tua was he got hit, and what seemed to be he whiplashed his head to the ground, which had people thinking he may have had a concussion because he got up and got dizzy. Tua claims it was his back. There's an investigation now being made by the NFLPA. I don't ever remember ever hitting my back and being so dizzy I couldn't stand straight. I haven't hit my back many times in life, but when I have back pain, I'll tell you the one thing I'm not, and that's dizzy. So he definitely
hold on,
right. Yeah, let me fall over. I've never seen that before. It definitely looked like he had a concussion.
But I'll tell you what.
Probably a pretty minor concussion. It probably wasn't like too bad, but still, like we all know how seriously the NFL takes concussions these days and the protocol.
I'll tell you what, once he retired from football, he's got an acting career because he pulled that one off really well. Pulled that off really well.
And now Tua, he's got to be held responsible because if the NFL does an investigation and they find out he did have a concussion and the team didn't take him out, the team's going to get fined for failing to to follow concussion protocol. So he kind of better watch himself going forward, because he's putting his team in a very difficult position when you do that.
Right.
Costing them money. I mean, yes, it's a penny. They're worth billions of dollars. The Miami Dolphins are, but it's the principle of the matter. It's like, follow the rules here. Especially it's your health. It's really your health you're playing with here. Yeah. It's not worth it to be a game.
And that whole CTE thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying in regards to your health. Like, you still got to play the Bills one more time so you can get even if they do take the game and have the game in hand in the division, because that's what everybody's going to retort with when I say that, is like, well, it's a division game. You need to win your division games. Yes, you do. But you also don't need to do that at the cost of, scrambling your brain. It's not worth it. So, it was just a really crazy game all the way around. Really entertaining. I really had a good time watching it. And it was insane.
Yeah, there was some crazy upsets. And last second wins. I mean, the Vikings beat Detroit on the last second touchdown with like 24 seconds left or something, 28-24. That was a great. I mean, there's just been upsets across the board. It's just happened to be one of those weeks. I want to circle back to the Bronco game against the 49ers for a couple of points. One, I'm not sure how many people out there know this. They probably do if they're watching the sports and whatnot. That Nathaniel Hackett finally realized that he could not manage the game like he thought he could. So he hires Jerry Rosburg, and we saw a major difference in Game 3. In fact, Nathaniel Hackett admitted that on 4th and inches, he wanted to go for it. And he kept hearing in his ear, Rosberg going, no. We got a strong defense. We're shutting them down. We need to punt. We need to force them to go a distance. And Hackett gave in. That was a great, smart move. And I think what I love about Nathaniel Hackett more now is he's realizing I need assistance, and it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for it, and that's what he's doing.
Well, especially when you're coming into a new job, you know what I mean? It's new for Nathaniel Hackett. It's his first year. I just would like to challenge everybody to think about the first time you did a new job for the first time. You had somebody right there training you, helping you out, making sure you did the job right, so that way they could eventually, within a couple of weeks, 3, 4, 5, how many ever, depending on the job, that they could leave you to yourself and you could eventually perform the job by yourself. So that's kind of what's not every offensive or defensive coordinator is fit to be a head coach. I mean, look at Josh McDaniels, look at Vance Joseph, look at
Wade Phillips,
look at Matt Patricia. Those guys, not every single head coach or defensive or offensive coordinator is fit to be a head coach. It really is. You got to be a different breed of person to really do that.
Absolutely.
You really do. So, I mean, it did make it a difference because there was not one delay game. I think there was a couple of false start penalties, but that has to do really with just linemen paying attention to snap counts. It's not really necessarily Nathaniel Hackett's fault. Yes, can you coach that? Are you supposed to coach that? Absolutely, but it's not like solely on Nathaniel Hackett.
Right.
So,
right. But I mean, for Nathaniel, and he admitted, he said, my offensive coordinator job mindset is I'm going for it on 4th and inches. I don't care where we are. I'm going for it because I know we can get it. Well, you don't always get it. And so I love the fact that Rosberg told him, no, don't do it. Our defense is solid. And in the end, it worked out because it turned out that we got a safety. I don't know if it was in that same series, but
should have been a pick 6, but it ended up being the safety. That was very, very frustrating as well. But and not only that, the field position thing comes into play because just as good as the Broncos special team was, so was the 49ers special team. So and our defense was really going at that time. So I think Nathaniel Hackett and the new coach, they kind of was like, look, our defense is firing really well right now. Let's let it rest in them because the chances are we're probably going to get the ball back. So let's live to fight another day. They understand. Keep forgetting his name, but
Rosberg?
He understood that this was a marathon, not a sprint. And that game was a marathon. And that's the benefit of having somebody up in the box, a few steps away from the action. Because you can, because you could observe what the game really is. And anybody who understood what the game really was, it was a defensive battle.
Yep.
It wasn't going to be an offensive shootout by any means necessary, because both offenses were having, minus the first two drives from the 49ers, they were having a terrible time moving the ball, stalling out, and so were the Broncos on offense as well. But, the Broncos got it together a little bit towards the end.
So. Oh, absolutely. In my opinion, when Hackett, I don't know if he said it directly or it was just Russell Wilson being Russell Wilson, but that last drive where we got that touchdown when we needed it, he was moving in the pocket, he was getting out of the pocket, he was swinging, kind of like Patrick Mahomes, where he took it and he was almost going down, and he tosses it to the running back on the side. He gains yardage, and then he scrambles to his left and he hits Hinton. Let Russell be Russell, because this is why we paid him $230 however many million.
245. Well, the thing is too, as well, Bills, we have to remember here that all kind of hinges on how well the offensive line blocks for him.
True.
And the offensive line was having a tough time. I think he got sacked 4 times in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, the offensive line's got to get better too. Garrett Bowles receded in this game for some reason. He was holding guys all night long, and he got called for it, I think, like 3 times at least. Yeah. So the offensive line needs to be a little bit more disciplined. I think the team expects Billy Turner to be back this week. I'm not entirely sure.
I hope so.
I really hope they do, because, man, I thought he would have been ready last week because he was a full participant in practice. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, so that means he must be ready to go, because everybody else who was a full participant played.
Josie Jewell.
Surtain?
Yeah, Surtain was shut down last night, man. He was shut down. I mean, he did not allow, Metcalf? I think he only, no, not Metcalf. What am I saying? That's Seattle.
Deebo Samuel?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he shut him down. He defended. He almost got a pick. I mean, he was
towards the middle to the end of the game. Yes. At the beginning of the game, Samuel was shredding the Broncos, but it wasn't the secondary, though. That wasn't Patrick Surtain's fault, because they were having a bunch of under routes across the middle. That's the linebacking core's fault.
Right.
Because, he doesn't even see a corner until, you
think
he's further downfield.
You think Josie Jewell's rusty?
No. I think no. Oh man, no. He had like almost 3 sacks. He had a forced fumble. Man, he was
I'm talking about passes going across the middle and covering,
well, I mean, in that aspect, yeah, he could probably use a little bit of work. But as far as the pass rushing goes, man, that guy was the star of the game. I'd say the first, if we're speaking in hockey terms here, the first star of the game goes to Josie Jewell / the punter. They both shared the first star of the game, because, man, they both made a huge difference.
Yeah.
In their areas, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Do you realize that Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory have combined for 5 sacks and 5 forced turnovers in 3 games? Now, where was Chubb? And I know he was injured and all that, but where was Chubb when Von Miller was there? Do you think Von Miller stole the show and wanted to be like the guy? Because Bradley Chubb is playing so much better under Randy Gregory.
I don't know. Because remember too, there was a different defensive coordinator.
Sure.
Those years too. I don't know. Maybe just Bradley Chubb's maybe finally in a system that finally he could be optimal in. I have no clue. What I do know is that I'm going to repeat a tweet that I saw on Twitter afterwards, and that's, we should have still signed Von Miller. Crowd is awfully quiet now. Now that Randall Gregory is performing at an optimal level now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna wave that flag a little bit here. So,
Did you see that one-handed sack that Gregory got on Garoppolo? I mean, he took him down like a rag doll.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to how strong these guys really are. Yeah. You look at him on TV and you think, well, he's a big man, but he's not that big. But then you see that the guy drags and Jimmy Garoppolo is not no small fry either. I think he's like 6'6", 235. He's pretty solid. And to drag him down with one arm, that's a really big testament to his strength.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's insane.
Absolutely. I totally agree. That being said, let me just get to the standings real quick, because I never thought this after Denver lost game 1. Broncos and Chiefs, both 2-1. Chargers 1-2, and the Raiders 0-3. A reason why I mentioned that is because let's go into game 4 of the season. Denver at Vegas this coming Sunday afternoon. Vegas 0-3, Denver 2-1. McDaniels, a former Bronco head coach. I know it was years ago, but still, there's still some history there.
A little over a decade.
Well, yeah.
A little over a decade.
My concern is this. Raiders have nothing to lose. Everything in the world to gain. They're at home.
Yeah.
This could be a trap game, and in some instances, in some situations, and some gut feeling that I have, this to me is a Broncos first trap game.
Well, it very well could, and you could still, and because of the next week coming up, the play calling and the energy could be quite conservative.
Yep.
Because the Broncos got a short week next week. They play Sunday, and then they're right back at it Thursday night against the Colts.
Even though they're at home, but still, you're right, sure.
Yeah, it's still a short week. You don't get the proper amount of rest. Either this game or that game, either the Raiders game or the Colts game is going to be the trap. I think the Broncos go 1-1 either way. They're going to win one of those games. They're going to lose one of those games. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I just have a feeling it's going to, because we have yet to see this offense really operate at its optimal level. You know what I mean? We really have yet to see that. Plus, the Broncos have still quite the injured list still. They're still – and if the guys are not injured and they're on the field, they're not 100%. They're playing hurt. You know that. And they're going to be playing hurt for the rest of the year. So it's that aspect alone is going to catch up to the Broncos in some shape, form, or fashion in either Sunday afternoon or Thursday night. I'm not entirely sure which one it's going to be, but all I know is when you don't have the proper amount of time to recover, it really, really stifles you from a physicality standpoint. It really, really does.
Do you think the Broncos country is going to show up in Vegas? I mean, knowing the attitude of the Raider fans, they like to pick fights and stuff like that. I mean, do you really think that Broncos country is going to show up in that kind of atmosphere?
I do, although I have heard that since the Raiders have built that stadium, there have been threats and measures to prevent fans, especially season ticket holders, from selling their tickets to opposing fans. They've been pretty strict about that because they invested $1 billion. They want to see their fans, as many as their fans in the stadium. There's been threats of revocation of season ticket seating licenses being stripped if you are caught selling your season tickets to the opposing team's fans. So with that being said, I do think there are going to be Broncos fans there. How many of them? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it's going to be 50-50. This ain't a Charger game. No. This is not a Charger game even not a Charger game. It's like 70-30. It's not even 50-50. Yeah. So, I think there will be, you'll see some orange, some white, some blue in the crowd, but it'll be kind of mixed in with all the black and silver, obviously. But, the Raiders, we also have to, look at it too. They're kind of, that secondary is absolutely garbage for the Raiders. Mm-hmm. They're bad, man. They're getting shredded up. I mean, that's what kept the Titans in the game. They just kept running under routes, cutting under routes, and then, they let it fly down the field. And they were just basically doing anything they wanted to towards the last end of that game with the Raiders secondary. So, that should be a big plus for the Broncos. And, just either sending Judy or KJ Hamler up over the top and just bombing it downfield like Russell does. I think if they don't do that, they're really doing a disservice to their offense this time around, because we saw that there was a hesitancy towards that in the Sunday night game. Yep. And, even I was mentioning it on the broadcast. I was like, what are they doing? Just just throw the ball downfield or run. That's all you really got to do. They weren't getting anywhere really with the run game, and those under routes were starting to get, figured out by the 49ers defense. So, yeah, absolutely. But, never count out Derek Carr either. Derek Carr, he does have the best wide receiver in the NFL on his team, and Devontae Adams. Right. So I think a lot of us forget about that as well. So, should be. I think
Surtain.
I don't, by no means, unless the Broncos really, really get cooking on offense, I highly doubt it's going to be a shellacking. I think it'll be really close.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think it'll stay really close. But if the Broncos really get it together and that offense really goes this week, then yeah, it might be a 14 point or more victory. It might be that margin if Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett can figure it out here against the Raiders.
I think Russell Wilson. I'm hoping. Put it this way. I'm hoping this is Russell Wilson's breakout game. And what I mean by that is now that we have a full game with Roseburg upstairs, up in the press box.
And all those little problems are worked out. Yeah.
Then he can say to Hackett, let Wilson be Wilson. Let him dictate the game. Let him take over the game. And I really feel this is going to be Russell Wilson's breakout game. How phenomenal would that be for Russell Wilson to not only do it against one of our rivals, but against our former coach? I know it's a decade or so ago, but still, to do that and make a statement in the AFC West. I mean, all three of those things, if Russell Wilson is allowed to be unhandcuffed. Seriously.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And, I think that's kind of been the biggest point there, to your point there, Bill. It's like Russell Wilson hasn't looked comfortable at all. He's you can see it in his face on the sideline, even though, he has been very positively encouraging to his offense and, not necessarily like rattled to the point to where he's throwing stuff or, necessarily lashing out.
Doing that.
Yeah, he's not really doing that, but you can tell that he's uncomfortable. You can tell he's not comfortable yet. And yeah, this would be the game to do it because, you got the Colts Thursday night.
Mm-hmm. And we got the Chargers after that.
Yeah, the Colts just beat the Chiefs. Yes, it wasn't by much. Yes, it was at home, but they are a tough team and they proved that they can battle if they need to battle. And then you got the Chargers afterwards, which I know they got beat by the Jaguars, but that'll be extra time that Justin Herbert has to heal. So, and we're coming off a short week still again. So, actually, we'll have
a long week.
Yeah, we'll have a long week. Sorry on that. When it
comes to that. And it's another prime time. It's another Sunday night game.
I thought it was a Monday night game.
Well, it might be Monday night.
Yeah, I believe it's a Monday night game, but which even gives us even more of of extra time off too. But yeah, my point being, it is a Monday night game.
Okay, so we go from Thursday,
October 17th. Thursday to a Monday night game. So yeah, that's even extra time, which is great. Yep. It'll give the guys who are injured for the Broncos to heal up. But yeah, like if there's a game to get it together and really dialed in and that chemistry dialed in with the offense, it's this game because it's not an easy road coming up for the Broncos. It's really not. From here on out, basically till the end of the season after this game. Yeah. Maybe with the exception of the Jets game, you still do have the Jets.
We still got Jacksonville over in London.
But that's not going to be easy because of the travel aspect.
True.
You're going across the pond and stuff.
Yep.
But you got one more little freebie, and that's with the Jets. But other than that, every other game is going to be tough.
And against Joe Flacco. How coincidental.
Yeah, against Joe Flacco. Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be crazy.
Oh my gosh. What a crazy season it's already been, and it's only going to get more intense. It's only going to get more intense because we still got to see the Chiefs. We haven't played the Chargers yet. We're going to start playing the Raiders this coming Sunday. So yeah, it's the season that we all expect to be in the playoffs. And I know it's early. Guys. Don't think that I'm crowning the Broncos the division crown because I'm not.
I will if that offense takes off. I will. Sure. Like we're winning the AFC West. There's no doubt about it. But
after the first game, and then after the shaky one against Houston a little bit, and even somewhat of the San Francisco game against them. What I saw in the second half with that offense coming alive and whatnot, I thought, okay, sure. Okay, guys, criticize me. It's 11-10. I don't care.
Right.
We still produced better than we did in the first 2 games combined.
Guess what, Bill? Just guess what? Tom Brady, Buccaneers, they only put up 1 more point.
Yep.
We only scored 1 point less than the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. So
yeah, but they lost.
Well, we won.
Exactly. So you never know. You never know. Okay. Jeremy, final score, Raiders, Broncos in Vegas. Final score.
This is tough because the Broncos don't really have an identity right now. You know what I'm saying? Offensively, they don't. And so it's hard for me to like, I said last week that they would put 20 points on the board. They put 12. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Hopefully, I'll say 23-17 Broncos.
Okay.
No.
You know what's ironic is last week, I remember saying the Broncos would beat San Francisco 21-20.
I said 26-20.
Yeah, I said 21.
But your margin was still 1 point. Yeah,
that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
God, this is tough, like you said, because it's a desperate team in the Raiders. It's a desperate team in the coaching staff. It's a desperate team in the fans. To me, this is the worst trap game that can ever happen to the Broncos.
I think besides the Jets, it is.
Yeah,
I think the Jets will be a trap game too.
So
because of what they did against Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. So I say, like I said just a few minutes earlier, if Russell Wilson is allowed to be Russell Wilson, the Broncos will blow him out.
Yeah,
I don't have the confidence right now that that's going to happen. So I'm going to say 23-20 Denver.
23-20. Okay.
So we'll come back next week and see how close.
How wrong we were. Again.
Huh? So what'd you say? I said 23-20. You said 20.
23-17 Broncos.
Oh, okay. So you went 3 points less than me.
Yeah.
Okay. 23-20, 23-17. Sounds good. Jeremy, always great to do this, man. Let's do it again next Tuesday. Can't wait.
Absolutely.
So that's it, guys. That's all we have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't, please do so. It costs nothing. It helps out the channel. Great. We appreciate it. Also hit the thumbs up because that sends out a great message. Jeremy, go ahead and say what you're going to be doing this coming Sunday.
Well, I'm going to be calling the Broncos game here. Broncos and Raiders live play-by-play. It's going to be with me, Bronco Bill, Mundungus Creevy, Glenn Hauser. We might have a special guest joining us. I'm not entirely sure what those guys have. Last week we did. Who knows what this week holds, but we got all your halftime, post-game, live play-by-play coverage for the Denver Broncos. So be sure to tune in on the MHRT network. Also, the following Wednesday, we will be kicking off the Colorado Avalanche season and doing live play-by-play, both me and Bronco Bill. Bronco Bill will be joining me in the intermissions. I will be doing the live play-by-play for the Colorado Avalanche all season long, at least 1 game per week until the Denver Broncos season is over. Then we'll go about 2 to 3 games per week. So
that's it, guys. Don't miss it. Jeremy brings it. He brings it real. He brings it informative. You guys won't miss a beat or an interception or a fumble or a pass, whatever. You'll catch it all, or a goal. Anyways, guys, until next Tuesday, thanks again for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all your support. And until then, have a great, great rest of your week. And Broncos, let's ride.
Let's go, Broncos.